Hello and welcome to Good to Know. I am host Marsha Lombardo from the Medway Senior Center. This is the first in a series of programs to provide valuable information to our seniors and other community members. Today I have the honor of welcoming our first guest, Registrar William O'Donnell from the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds.
Well, Marsha, thanks for having me. Call me Bill, and
Okay.
thanks to Medway Cable for doing this.
Yes, well, we're thrilled to have you. Registrar O'Donnell is a lifelong resident of Norfolk County. You've been with the Registry of Deeds since 2002, and he was named Registrar of the Year for 2017. Congratulations on that honor.
Yeah, great, thanks. No, it's, you know, at the Registry of Deeds, it's an arm of government many people don't know much about.
Right,
but
that's
I
right.
always say, when you think about it, the biggest asset we have are our homes, and that's why it's great doing shows like this to let people know some of the information that might help them protect their homes through a homestead, or just learn a little bit about the Registry of Deeds.
Excellent. All right. Can you start off by telling us what the function is of the Norfolk Registry of Deeds?
The Registry of Deeds, I always say the mission is probably the same as it was in 1793 when Norfolk County was established, and Medway is one of the 28 communities that make up Norfolk County. Mm-hmm. The Registry of Deeds is an arm of government where community land records get recorded, and I think the records have to be recorded securely, efficiently, accurately. And I think the other mission is to make sure these community land records are accessible to the public in a customer service oriented way. Okay. And some of the records are, you know, for instance, the deed to your home. You know, when you buy a home, there's a deed that gets recorded. When you borrow money, a mortgage gets recorded by the lender. When you pay off a mortgage, a discharge gets recorded, and people should make sure that those get recorded. And your communities ask for land records to get recorded. For instance, the Board of Appeals might have a decision that they want recorded, or the Conservation Commission has an order of conditions. So these are the type of documents that get recorded. They're legal documents that get recorded at the Registry of Deeds, which is located at 649 High Street in Dedham, Massachusetts, right across from the Gold Dome Superior Court in downtown Dedham.
Okay, excellent. And now you had talked about a customer service center, so can you talk about that and what?
Sure. You know, the customer service center really started, you know, when you start a job, you know, talking to my father climbed poles for the Boston Edison for 38 years. And, you know, we did a lot of modernization. So a lot of the things that we've done at the registry is to try to embrace the technology that's around us. Okay. You know, for instance, if you go on our website at www.norfolkdeeds.org, you can look up the first document that was recorded in Norfolk County in 1793. Wow. So we've put all that information out. But my dad would say, well, remember, some of us don't know anything about computers, don't care to know anything about computers. Right. So that's why we created a customer service center. Okay. The customer service center is a separate part of the registry where people can go there. We have staff that has the resources and the computers that are available to help people when they walk in. They can look up their deed. They can answer a question whether a homestead's been recorded. And if you want to call them directly, you can call them at 1-781-461-6101. And the extension of our customer service department is we do office hours. So we go out to the senior centers. We go out to community organizations like the VFWs or the Rotaries or the Lions Clubs or some of the business associations, and we bring the computers with us. So we try to take the customer service concept on the road. And we have office hours at the town hall. All the town halls have been great about welcoming us, and if you know, come on by if we're in your community or a nearby community, and we'll bring the customer service to you.
Excellent. Now, do you have computers that are there for public use at the registry?
And that's a great point. It's a beautiful building if you ever come by the registry building. It was built in 1903. But that building isn't just for the lawyers or the title examiners or the engineers. So you're right, we have over 45 computers that are sprinkled throughout the building that people can come in and use. Okay. But the beauty of the internet, and that's probably one of the things we're very proud of, is for the first time in Norfolk County's history, we have internet land record research so that all these documents are available online. I like to say that we're trying to bring the registry records into people's homes and businesses. Right. So you're welcome to come by 649 High Street in Dedham to use those computers, or you can use your computer from home to look up this information.
Excellent. Very good. Now, can you tell us a little bit about your website, what's been done to incorporate the internet into the operations, and how you've been able to bring the registry into the business and homes of Norfolk County through
Well,
your website.
and it didn't happen overnight. I always say, I've been involved in sports, coaching and playing, and there's no I in team. So what we talk about, there was no I in team. We have good people down at the registry that embrace change. So what we did is there's over 6 million scanned images in our library. So slowly but surely, it didn't happen overnight. All that information got scanned in so that if you go on our website, if you went to book 1, page 1, you can look up that first document. We have indexed all the way back. So if you ran your name, Marcia, every Marcia Lombardo back to 1793 could kick out, and you could look up information. And the other thing that we just concluded, and we're very proud of, we were the first registry in New England to transcribe documents. From 1793 to 1900, all the documents were handwritten out. And they're kind of hard to read. If you go online, it helps. You can zoom in and zoom out.
Sure.
But during that period, there's over 450,000 documents. We've transcribed them. So if you hit the view button, you can view the legal document, which is handwritten. But if you hit another button, the typed version of that document has come out. The lawyers and the people that use it professionally appreciate it being on the website, but we're finding more and more people are doing historical and genealogical research. A lot of the historical societies and commissions have spoke favorably about it. So again, it's a way of using the website sort of to make history come alive. There's a lot of great history in Norfolk County. 4 presidents were born here, and Governor John Hancock, who signed the Declaration of Independence, was the governor that established Norfolk County. There's a deed from Paul Revere. So a lot of history. So a lot of people are starting to use our website for historical and genealogical research.
Excellent. Very good. And are you still printing books?
Well, yeah. Well,
how many volumes do you have?
Yeah. I always tell people, it's great to be modern, but we still do it the old-fashioned way. There's 21 registries around Massachusetts, and we're one of the few registries that still print books. Some people still want to do it the old-fashioned way, and so we still do. And when I started, I was at book 17,000 when I started. We're approaching book 36,000. And that's just on the recorded land side. On the land court side, there's over 1.3 million documents that have been recorded. So we still print the books, we still print the indexes. So I tell people, if you're fearful of the computer, and some people still come in and do it the old-fashioned way.
Old school way, right?
I agree. We're very proud of the modernization that we've done, but I'm with you. The old school way isn't that bad either.
Right. And what steps have you taken to protect the records of the Registry of Deeds? And what's your backups?
Yeah, and that that has taken time. But first of all, by law, we have to microfilm.
Okay.
So we still microfilm, and some people might say, well, that's not a great backup. But when you think about it, and we have to put it off-site by law. We have it in Iron Mountain, there's in New York and Massachusetts. There's been a lot of floods and things. Think about Hurricane Katrina or what happened in Houston. Well, if that happened here in Dedham, and there is water nearby, at least with the microfilm, you could recreate the record. So I think it may sound old-fashioned to microfilm, but I think it's still important. We also, because of the new computer systems, we do daily and weekly backups that get sent off-site. There's a renovated nuclear bunker that Iron Mountain owns down in Rhode Island, where we ship those tape drives. So we back things up in that way.
Excellent.
We also have, and again, part of it is trying to, I've been in government, but I've also been in the private sector. So you try to take some of that private sector thinking and run government like a business. So we have a off-site, kind of disaster recovery site. So if something happened to this building, and it was built in 1903 at 649 High Street, we can go down the street and get the registry up and running. Excellent. Now, it would be difficult, but we still could do it. And we also, as far as our disaster recovery, we were the first registry in Massachusetts to put a generator at the building, so that with all these snowstorms we've been having, when the governor says don't drive on the roads, our employees don't come in, but a few of us get in, so that the registry has been open for business, and people, believe it or not, have come in saying, I have to close this today.
Sure.
So we've tried to take steps to protect the record, protect the operations, and anticipate if there's some type of calamity or disaster, let's get up and running.
Excellent. Very good. I understand that you recently testified up on Beacon Hill on giving transparency to customers with regards as to who holds their mortgage. Can you tell us about that?
Well, that's another role of the Registry of Deeds. We've tried to, we're involved. We've been involved in some legislation that has passed. For instance, there was legislation we worked that allowed us to do electronic recording, okay. And we did electronic recording on the land court side. We've been doing it for years on the recorded land side, but in the spring we did it because a law got passed. The bill you talked about is, believe it or not, in Massachusetts on the recorded land side, which is 80% of the property in Norfolk County, there's no requirement that assignments get recorded. And we see people coming in saying, look, I paid this thing off 20 years ago and now I need a discharge. We don't know what to do. Well, I always tell people, go to our website at www.norfolkdeeds.org. We have a document that is entitled, Where Has My Bank Gone? And it gives state and federal contact information to try to track down where that bank has gone. But the reason we testified for that legislation is, why don't you pass a law that requires banks, and more it's the big banks, it's not the community banks.
Sure.
You have some great community banks here in Medway.
We do.
It's the bigger banks, and they're assigning it. Well, when you assign the mortgage, record it so that consumers can go online, and a lot of people are technically savvy, and say, oh, okay, that's who holds my mortgage. So a lot of people come to us, they say, I remember who I paid it off, but they said they're not the holder of the mortgage. And so I think the legislation is worthwhile for the consumer. Excellent. It protects the consumer. Sure. So that's what we testified on. And the lenders are required to do it on the land court side, which is 20% of the property. So they're doing it on one side, do it on the other to help everybody.
Exactly. Perfect. And can you tell us about office hours at the county's 28 city and town halls, and how that works?
It's part of the outreach, and that's been the beauty of the computers. I went to school down in Washington, D.C. and worked for Congressman Moakley, and sometimes when we first started office hours, it was like working back in the 80s with Congressman Moakley. It was the old-fashioned way. You'd take the notes down, go back. But now with the computer, we go around. All the communities have taken us in and allowed us to use their town halls. We have office hours there, so people can come by if they need a copy of a deed, or even if they want to file something. Sometimes if they come to the Medway Town Hall at office hours, we can't record it right there, but we take it back, save them a trip to Dedham, if they need a discharge recorded or something like that. So we have office hours. Another big part of office hours are people are interested in the homestead, which protects their property.
Yes.
But the other outreach is just we go where we're invited. People, as I said, a lot of the community organizations have us there. Sometimes they need a speaker. Sometimes they want us to bring the computers so that they can have their members kind of look up information. And we love going to the senior centers too. We go there when we're invited, because people are just interested in protecting their property. And even if they might have already bought a house, they might know someone who's a young family member that's just getting into the market. So there's always good information.
And how will we know when you're in Medway? I know that you send us notification at the senior center, and we do our own advertising there, but if someone else in the community was interested in finding out when you'll be at town hall,
try to go on our website, or the town halls have been great. A lot of the town halls put it out on their website. Yes. And we just try to get word of mouth out there. So yeah, check our website. Okay, great.
And can you talk about the change in the Homestead Act in 2011?
Well, sure. The Homestead Act, for your viewers, it's part of the state law. Under Chapter 188, people can protect their homes under the Homestead Act. Now, before 2011, you had to file a homestead form, and sometimes that's what we do at office hours. People say, "Hey, can I file the form?" And we're notaries. We help them file the paperwork and get it filed. The Homestead Act prevents the forced sale of your home. Now, I always tell people, if you owe money to the bank, a homestead's not going to protect you, or if you owe the town taxes, a homestead's not going to protect you. Sure. But what it does is, if you're in a car accident, for instance, they can't force the sale of your home. Okay. So it's well worth doing as far as the Homestead Act. There were some changes in 2011 which expanded the homestead. People in trust can now get a homestead. Okay. If you have a homestead, the proceeds of your sale are protected for a limited period of time, for a year. Or if your house burnt down, the proceeds check is protected for 2 years, so the creditors can't come in and get it. So there's some hidden protections. And thank you, local legislators, because they put other things. For the first time in 2011, there's an automatic homestead. So if you do nothing, at least you have a protection of $125,000.
Wow.
But for a relatively modest filing fee, again set by the state legislature of $35, you can get $500,000 worth of protection. So I always feel, hey, you know, declare the estate a homestead just so you get that added layer of protection.
Right.
And thank you, local legislators, because in 2011, they put language in there that didn't, there was language sometimes in mortgages that killed your homestead. People didn't realize it. But after 2011, the legislators listened to consumers and said, look, if that language that kills your homestead is in there, it doesn't kill your homestead. So that was a really big plus for the consumers. So a lot of changes in 2011, so make sure you thank your local state reps. Instead, I know you got, you know, Representative Roy, you got Senator Spilka, there's others, you know, that was a good thing for the consumers.
Absolutely. So to declare a homestead, where do you get that form, and how would you go about doing that?
Yes, you can download the form, or you know, come to our office hours. We have a standard form, you know, all it needs is really a deed reference if it's on the recorded land side, a certificate of title reference if it's on the land court side. And the other change in the law is everyone's got to sign off on it. So if I own the property with my spouse, as I do, both of us have to sign under the new law.
Okay.
And it has to be done in front of a notary. And then it's just a matter of getting it to the registry. You can either mail it or drop by an office hour, give it to us, or come by in person and make sure it gets recorded.
Gets recorded. Excellent. And I was told that a private company will mail you a blank declaration of homestead for a fee. Could you talk
Well,
about
there's a couple, I call them scams, and I used to work as an assistant district attorney, so you're kind of sensitive to scams, but yes, there was one group out there, they kind of target the elderly. For $15, they'll get you a homestead form, a blank form. They won't fill it out, so don't pay $15 for a form you can download from our website free, or you know, get. And then there's other scams that have been taking place. We call them deed scams, and we've notified the Attorney General's office and the Secretary of State's office, and I recognize they may be legal because in the fine print, but I think it's kind of unconscionable what they do. They tell people, one group for $60, they'll get you a certified copy of your deed. Well, they'll come to the registry and pay $2 for that certified copy that you just gave them $60. Another group, for $86, they send out what looks like a tax bill. They call it a document processing fee, and a lot of people think, oh, I must owe it.
To pay this,
and they're sending it in. And it's great that you raise this in a cable show like this. Just spread the word, because there was an article in the Boston Herald about this. WBZ Radio did a story about it. Hank Philippi Ryan from Channel 7 a couple of months ago did a story on this, and it's still happening. So the best way to combat these kind of, I call them scams, is just to get the word out that don't pay $83 for something you can come to the registry. If you come by our office hours, we give you a certified copy of your deed for nothing. If you come by office hours, or we're at the senior center. So just be aware of it. And if you have any doubts, disregard it, and you know, come to the registry, and we'll take care of it.
Now, is that something people should report from the community, or just something you kind of tear it up and?
No, we actually ask people to report it to us, and a lot of people do report it to us, just so we, you know, track it. And that's why we still know it's happening. And the good news is the people that are reporting it to us are aware that it's a scam, and they're doing it, so I think to let us know, hey, it's still happening, and that's why, you know, we still broadcast it on our website, and we still do articles about it. And you know, shows like this will help people not fall prey to those type of scams. And I recognize it's legal. I mean, the Attorney General's office, both the past Attorney General and the new Attorney General, have put out consumer alerts. You know, sometimes things are legal, but they're not right. So just let the people know that.
Good to know. Excellent. Now, sometimes there's a ownership change on a property. What should someone do to record that change of ownership? And is there anything that we should do if a joint owner passes away?
Well, you know, I always, you know, say you should also consult an attorney. You know, it's the biggest asset you have. But you know, if someone passes away, a lot of times, especially the elderly, they want to come in and do a new deed. And you really don't have to. Like when my mom died, I said to my dad, all you have to do is record a death certificate. You know, it's owned jointly. So again, I would, consult an attorney. Sometimes people want to put things in trust, and that's why you have to really, get good advice and good counsel.
Okay.
But we see it a lot with the elderly when someone passes away. They just, I want to do a new deed, and all you really have to do is record the death certificate, because that when the attorney who's doing the title, when you go to sell it, they're going to say, well, 2 people bought it. What happened to the person? So you don't have to go to the expense of a new deed,
Okay.
unless you want to do more sophisticated estate planning and things like that. But that's a whole separate matter that you better go to an expert, because I'm not an expert in that. Estate planning, that's a whole separate expertise.
Okay, great. I understand that the registry has recently unveiled a new consumer notification program that would allow owners of real estate in Norfolk County to monitor their property or properties against identity fraud.
Well, it goes along with the kind of my background and the whole fraud concept. The FBI actually says one of the fastest growing white-collar crimes is property fraud and mortgage fraud. So again, what we did at the registry, we have a consumer notification anti-fraud program. I always tell people it's not going to prevent the fraud, but I signed up myself. You can go to our website at www.norfolkdeeds.org and go to the consumer notification part of it, and you can sign up. I get an email, and I don't think getting an email is that inconvenient if potentially there's fraud. So I'm William P. O'Donnell, William Patrick O'Donnell. It's geared that every William O'Donnell document that comes through the registry gets sent to me. Well, I look it up online. Oh, it's not me. Well, someday, maybe when I look up, I'll say, wait a minute, that's a deed to my house. I didn't sign that. Or that's a mortgage, but that's not my signature. Now, again, we haven't prevented the fraud, and I don't want people to think we're preventing the fraud, but we're seeing it across the country. Other colleagues in other states are saying there's fraud like that taking place in other parts of the United States, and I think it's only time, it's going to, a matter of time before it comes here.
Sure.
I haven't seen it yet in Norfolk County, but what
So
happens is,
sure.
when you get that email, we have links now to the law enforcement agencies and the district attorney's office around Norfolk County. You can get on it right away. It didn't prevent the fraud, but at least you got on it right away so that it doesn't get worse. So I think it was something, unfortunately, is needed in the society that we live in, but it's just a matter of getting an email notification, and I think that's a small inconvenience to pay, just to be on top of any potential fraud to my property.
Sure, absolutely. I understand a couple of times a year you offers a free computer seminar
Sure.
and how to access land information, and who can attend and how do you sign up for this?
That's been very successful, and more people want to attend. We have one upcoming in May. You can check our website. It's open to anybody. It's not just professionals. We actually have geared a few to government officials, people that volunteer on the planning boards, the historical societies and commissions. But we always do one in the fall and one in the spring that's just geared to just regular people coming in. And they come by to the registry at 4:30. We kind of show them a little bit about what the building's about, and we get right onto the computers, and by the end they're looking up their property and looking up their information. So it's a good way, again, of trying to make the registry relevant. And I think people are, back to what I said at the beginning, I think people realize, wow, this deals with my home, and that's the biggest asset for most of us. And the more information I get, the better informed the consumer is. So that's why we do it. And they seem to enjoy it.
Very good. Can you tell us about some of the community activities you're involved in? I know Toys for Tots is one of them.
I went to Zavarian Brothers High School. I went to Georgetown University. I went to BC Law School. So a lot of between the Jesuits and the Zavarian Brothers, you try to learn to do some good things. We have a couple of things. Toys for Tots been great. The veterans. We thank them for the service, but we've partnered for a good 12 years with them. We're a drop-off point at the Registry of Deeds. That's a great thing. We always do a food pantry drive, and get food to the local pantries. And again, go on our website, because they need, we do it in November and December, but they need food all year. So we list all the pantries around the county so that they can go directly. We also have a Suits for Success program where people can drop off their suits or women's clothing, scarves. Sometimes the plan room looks like Filene's basement. I know I'm dating myself by saying Filene's basement. And those clothes that get donated, we give to Father Bill's place in Mainspring, and also Interfaith Social Services in Quincy, which is a social service agency. And we also partnered with the Veterans Administration in Jamaica Plain, where we get these, items, because some people need them. Some people are trying to transition and get jobs. They don't have suits or a nice dress to get, an interview. So, and scarves and pocketbooks and things like that. So that's kind of another outreach that we do. And we recently partnered with New Life Furniture Bank, which is out of Walpole is their building, but they're centered in Medfield, where you can. They try to help people who need beds and things like that. We're a drop-off point for items that are smaller than that. Go
Sure.
directly to New Life, but we take pots, pans, silverware, comforters, things that we probably take for granted that a lot of people need, and it's referral driven. So whoever comes to this is referral driven by churches and social service agencies that there's some type of need, and we try to help them out. So those are some of the things that we kind of do all year to hopefully help things in the community. Yeah.
Very good. Can you talk a little bit more about your award for being
Well,
named the 2017 Registrar?
I always say that and $3 gets me a cup of coffee, but no, I'm only kidding. No, I was very happy to get it. It's really the employees that do it, but I think a couple of things. I think some of it we talked about, with this transcription project. It was the first project done in New England to take these old documents and transcribe them. And I also mentioned, the legislation. I do think that a lot of times we are up at Beacon Hill, and I think part of the success we had, electronic recording is. And when I started, there was no electronic recording. It got authorized by the state legislature and the federal government, where an attorney here in Medfield can do a closing in Medfield and now transmit all the documents online, and saves them a trip to Norfolk, to Dedham.
Sure.
And so we've been doing that for years on the recorded land side, but not on the land court side. And legislation, myself and John Buckley, the Register in Plymouth County, spearheaded the legislation that allowed us to do electronic recording. A lot of the title examiners, a lot of the lawyers, a lot of the bankers, a lot of the users wanted it, and it's just a way of modernizing. So I think those two projects probably tipped the scale, but everyone around the Massachusetts is trying to modernize their registry. Excellent. And so
and you're leading the way.
Well,
right,
thank you.
County.
Thanks. Yeah, Norfolk County. We've been, but it's because we got a good team.
Excellent.
Got a good team there.
So if people would like to get some more information, how can they get in touch with you at the Registry of Deeds?
Well, sure, and there's a lot of information on our website for first-time home buyers, for people struggling with foreclosure. So they can go on the website at www.norfolkdeeds.org. Again, we try to do it the old-fashioned way, customer service. If you call 781-461-6101, you get a person, and that's always helpful in this society.
Sure.
And if you want to email me directly, it's Register O'Donnell, ODONNELL, at norfolkdeeds.org. Just drop me an email, and those are our contact points.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia.
And I'm Marcia Lombardo, host of Good to Know. Thank you for joining us for the first in our series, and we hope to see you again.